I'd like to call the meeting to order at 7:04 by the clock on the wall of the October 17 Township of Roseville Police Commission meeting. So the first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. Want to fire us off, Joe?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Any additions and deletions to the agenda at this point?
I would propose an addition regarding the millage to today, so that we
Addition,
can,
where?
as an action item, so that we can approve the language and get it to the township.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
That'll be item 3. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of the September 19, 2023 regular police commission meeting?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So, we're into action items. Chief, you want to walk us through this?
So the first one is the removal of probationary status for Sergeant Robert Piazza, effective, I believe it's going to be tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow. Rob has been a sergeant for almost a year, minus 1 day. Doing a good job on midnights. He prefers midnights. He likes midnights. And it's a great tool for himself, and what the next agenda item is to get the people that want to become leaders in the department later on. This is the first step, learning to run a platoon and manage people.
So, can I have a motion to approve removing Sergeant Robert Piazza from probationary status effective October 18?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Give the sergeant our congratulations. And the next one?
For the next action item, let me fit my agenda. So, approval to promote Officer Benson to a sergeant effective immediately. We wanted to just do a little bit of history about the sergeant's position and a little bit of history about Officer Benson before we do the action item. What is it?
That's fine.
Just to, and Joe, I know that you're very well aware of this. The sergeant's position in the department is important, and it has many facets, actually a couple facets. One is that you're entering into a leadership role, learning how to manage people, learning personalities, and second, it is the stepping stone for them to move up and future promotions and future positions within the department. That position is also the extension of the lieutenant, and the lieutenant, he puts a lot of faith and depends on these individuals for making sure that they're getting done what they need to get done, and not following orders, but making sure that things that that we're putting out are being followed. Not necessarily to a T, but that they're getting done. So it's a very important position, and I know that AJ will do an exceptional job.
A little bit of the history on Officer Benson. I'm not sure if you guys know, but he joined our department in August of 2012 as a reserve officer. I don't know if you guys knew he was a reserve with Grosio when he first started. Put him through the academy, and then in 2017 he joined our department. So since then he's been in our department for about 6 years. He's one of our taser instructors. He's also been on the SWAT team for 3 years. He's one of the operators there. So AJ's got a lot of energy, and I think he's going to succeed as a sergeant. So it's a great tool for succession planning and learning what these guys can do. So with that, the action item.
Well, based on what we know, and I know that AJ has stepped up and he's in SWAT, correct? Yes. And that was individual initiative. And I guess I'd like a motion to approve the chief and deputy chief's recommendation to promote him to sergeant immediately.
Joe, I'm going to give you the honors since you were the chief when he was hired in.
Can we have discussion first?
Well, I need a motion.
Yeah, motion to approve AJ Benson to the rank
Do
of
I have a second? Now we can discuss.
chief.
You can have it.
Go ahead, Joe.
Okay. I just want to say, and you know how I am, and I don't really keep things bottled up too much. The first line supervisors in a police department have more control over a police department than the chief of police does. It's the day-to-day operation that you control every single day on your shift and what you do. And I just want to say, and I'm going to be brief, that I applaud you for taking this. We know that it's a contractual issue. Someone's next in line. They get offered it, whatever happens, okay? For whatever reason, that is their personal issues. That is their judgment on where they're going in the future. And when you take this position and you show that you can be a leader, it means that it shows you can be a leader in further positions. And I'm just going to say, I not only applaud you, but I thank you for taking it. Because this happened when I came up, the same thing. You know, it might not be the best shift in the world, might not be the best position in the world, but if you want to be a true leader in this department, you're going to have to do it by steps. It's the only way that I feel is the correct way. And just thank you, that's all I can say. And I'm happy you took it.
Appreciate everything. Thank you.
I was going to say, I've had lots of interactions with AJ. Always a great personality. It's always a pleasure to see him out on the road. Always proactive. He's not an officer, not that we have any officers on the island that are not proactive, but he's always looking to take that extra step to expand his knowledge and his resources. I think the SWAT is one of the perfect examples that, he saw that opportunity and made that happen for himself. So with that said, I applaud you for this promotion and thank you for being here.
Anyone else have any comments?
That's you.
Well, I already had my spiel, so we've got a motion, we've got a second. All in favor to
Aye.
approve?
Oops. Sorry.
Aye.
Double aye.
Welcome, Sergeant.
So if we can have Officer, now Sergeant Benson, come on up. The price is right. Bib Chief Brozak has your sergeant's badge.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'll be presenting his first set of stripes.
Awesome. Very good.
And then this is a certificate acknowledging being promoted to sergeant. So,
Thank you.
I'm not a student of management. I'm a student of leadership of Dick Winters, 101st Airborne, David Marquet, the U.S. Navy, Colin Powell, Joint Chiefs of Staff. So I'm looking forward to employing what I've learned going forward. So thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
All right, the third action item, I'd like to defer to the last item on the agenda, so can we go into the monthly report?
This one's a little bit longer than I've done in the past, so I'll try to be quick. A monthly report. So do you guys remember the last meeting, we talked about the 10 accounts applied for the Walmart grant? We got
Yes.
the Walmart grant. So I just want to share with you some of the items that we got as part of that. So we have these kits in the back of the cars for like biohazards, and then we also have medical bags. And then some of the items that we haven't really had before, we're using that money to purchase it, like a little show and tell pile there. On the right side, these are cat tourniquets. They're not cheap, but they're for any type of high volumes of bleeding. You can cut off the sear off the vein or artery. In the center, you got Israeli bandages, which goes below the tourniquet to help pack the wound. And this is blood clotting material for packing the wound. And every officer got issued a tourniquet and a tourniquet holder, and then they're all going to get these CPR masks, and every car is going to have a CPR mask. And then we're going to take those kits and we're going to expand them into the medical bags, to where there'll be a drop bag of an Israeli bandage, the gauze bandage, and a tourniquet on top of what the officer has been issued, to where you tear them off, and they're like drop bags for mass casualty incidents. So we've been talking with the fire department, ordering the stuff. They're going to probably do the same. So we're going to build a whole bunch of kits. So if we ever had a mass casualty incident, we'll have supplies on hand in the back of the cars. And on top of that, these are 1,000-pound carry sheets. So they're going to roll up into those medical bags. So we're expanding the medical bags. So if we ever had a mass casualty incident, it will be strengthen our position for care. So I just wanted to share. That's what was paid for the Walmart grant. Next, any questions on those items?
No, sir.
Next, you guys remember a couple months ago, the township, through the board, gave us a whole bunch of funds for capital improvements in the building. You guys recall that? The gas pumps, the roof, the sign, the parking lot, and a couple other items. So myself and Chief Camilleri from the fire department are trying to figure out what we're going to keep improving. One of them is going to be, we're going to upgrade our 1700 AM radio station. The way that we actually put on messages is antiquated, and it's very difficult for dispatch. It hasn't been upgraded in many, many years. We're going to get towards basically an application process on the phone or on a desktop. We get preloaded messages instead of them having to record it with the background noise. It could be an application. Then Chief Camilleri or myself can activate a message from our house with the use of, for administrators that have that. So it's a small, and the siren program will be the same thing. We're going to upgrade that with an application on the desktop for dispatch, where they can activate the sirens from other places besides just dispatch, if needed by the administration. Our LPR system, I'm not sure. I think, Joe, you said you guys were the first ones in the state to get that, I believe.
Midwest.
Midwest.
It's
So
stationary, not an LPR system in a car, a stationary
Right.
LPR.
So our system right now is old. It's getting older. It's been well used, so it's kind of breaking down. So all of downriver and most of this region of the state has gone to a different vendor. So we're going to meet with that vendor and see if we can upgrade it, because we're going to be moving to body cameras and new car camera systems. Our car camera system, some of them are unable to get parts for them now. The system is not even working in some of the cars. So we're going to put an RFP out probably in about 2 weeks, soliciting for body cams and car camera systems, which is going to be cloud-based. So it'll greatly increase it. And some of them even have capacities to where the car camera for traffic stops is also a license plate reader as they drive around. I'm not saying we're going to get that. It's an extra fee, but it's incredible the technology that's taken place in the growing of this stuff. So we're trying to use funds that we have to increase our technology in the department. It takes time, it takes money, and it takes technology. So with that, we're waiting for a grant to come from the federal government for technology. So part of that, we're going to try to get everybody new laptops. If that'll be paid for by grants. Everything I'm talking about will be funded by not through taxpayer dollars, either grants or forfeiture money. And then we're going to try to do continuing building repairs. There's some rust items above the door when you walk in the department. There's some broken cement. There's light fixtures that just don't work anymore. So we need to upgrade them. Keep the building good shape to last for a long time. That costs money. So next budget, we're going to try to funnel some money with the fire department to allocate towards that. And the last item of equipment we're going to try to purchase is plate carriers. It's the body armor that we have that's made out of Kevlar that can expire. It goes old, but a plate carrier is basically a nylon frame you put over your vest that you have. It has a plate inside the chest and it has like pockets like Molly gear. So you can put on tourniquets or other different gear and you put it in the trunk. What the purpose of that is, it's not for them to wear every day. That if we actually had an active shooter incident or a mass casualty incident, they can throw it over like what Sergeant Benson's wearing right now. And it takes us from a level 2 or 3 to a level 4 automatically by having the plate carrier on there. It just increases their ability to do their job in a time of need. They can keep it in the car in the trunk and they won't get affected by the heat or cold. They have to be in the trunk though. Any questions on that?
No.
It's going to take time to get all the stuff in place, especially the car cameras and the body cams. But we're putting our request for proposal probably about 2 weeks out. Dispatcher update. So we're waiting for the next board meeting. Joe will get a little package and then to present to the board to have them for final approval for a dispatcher. And if voted by the board for approval, he'll be starting October 30th. So that went pretty smoothly. He scored high, and you guys interviewed him. We had a chance to interview him. He scored high in the testing we did, actually really high in the testing, and did a good interview process. So, any questions?
We already had the board approval for the dispatcher.
We have to put it for a final approval. That's what we were told. And the conditional offer, that was one of the conditional offers, was
Okay.
final approval for the hire by the board.
There you go.
Any questions on that? And then for police officer update, this is the one that's not going as smooth. So we had our closing Monday at 4 p.m. And we left it open for 5 or 6 weeks, and we received 5 applications and 4 are viable. We received a lot of interest in calling to see what kind of movements we had to be competitive with other departments. So because of lack of competitiveness, we are at probably 4 applications. So that's where we're at. We'll start out. We'll go through them and we'll start a interview process from there.
Have you discussed any of these issues with Derek? To let him-
Briefly, we wanted to see how this. We were kind of hoping at the end. We've seen in past hirings that people kind of at the last minute wait to turn in applications, but especially for dispatch, we've seen that a couple times in patrol. So that didn't happen this time. So some people had called and talked to Jessica, asked certain questions, and her answer was no. We don't have
Just
these.
be sure
We
we
don't have
keep-
these options.
Be sure we keep Derek in the loop
Yep.
so he understands, the situation out there, what you're trying to do.
Do you have a question, Joe?
Good, you covered it.
It's unfortunate, but that's where we're moving next. And then the last thing we have is, so we have ourselves. So we talked to Reverend Carrie Ryanus with St. Thomas Church. We have ourselves a chaplain. So we've been talking to her for a couple weeks and months. When she started in St. Thomas, she said she kind of wanted to get the lay of the land and figure out her congregation. And so Todd and I met with her this morning about this issue, and we laid out possible training classes that she can take if she chose to, what the roles would be, how it would factor into our employee program for officer wellness, and then responding to different incidents on the island if asked upon. And she wants to take the challenge, and I think she'd be a great fit for the department. We haven't had a chaplain for years, is it? 4 years? 3 or 4 years. It's a great resource. Hmm?
When I left, she left. It wasn't because of me.
Oh,
She-
I recall. I
went to a
remember.
different,
Career path.
so it's been 4 years.
Yeah, so she's excited for it. We're going to probably post it on our Facebook page. But this was kind of a hard, you got to have the right person to do this. I'm not saying anything different about the other clergy on the island, but two of the churches have temporary. One is brand new in his first position. And it's just worked out good. And all the churches have been really great about it too. So any questions about that? It'll be on our Facebook page in a couple of days. So that's it for our department update if there's no questions.
Hey, can I just ask you one question,
Yeah.
Doug, just back, about the officers? And I get this, that for some reason now, in the past, I'm not sure how many years, but you know, if you go back 10, even maybe when AJ applied, maybe there was 30, you know, people that applied at the time, and then it was 20, then it was 15, then it was 10, now it's 5. Have you guys ever thought of, and it's obviously up to you and I guess, you know, with the commission, but there is a lot of good applicants out there that haven't had any training. And our field training program would show an individual how Gross Seal wants their officers to respond, how they want their officers to, I don't want to go as far as say is treat individuals, but to actually mold them the way you want them molded. Was there ever a thought, because I do know, aren't the applications still from certified or certifiable, meaning they've been to
License, yes.
an academy, correct?
Correct.
So if you've been to an academy and you're still good for your first 2 years, you could apply.
Correct.
Is that still correct? Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, I didn't know how you got, but was there ever any thought? Just think about it. It's not like it's a
I
question.
think what the difference is that when, I can speak, Todd and I applied around the same time. I think there was a pretty large pool of applicants for both those hiring. There were more applicants than there were jobs. With today's
Correct.
history, there's more jobs than there are applicants, and departments have changed their ways about marketing themselves. Meaning not having a cool Facebook page or saying you could join the SWAT team. It's about what benefits. I'm trying to avoid getting any type of contractual stuff, but certain things that would draw another officer to leave their current position and move to our department. Or most academies have sponsored people already through the grant programs that we did not apply for. We've never had that issue.
Right.
So this time was one of the first times I've actually seen, I'm not saying anything against the 4 or 5 applicants that applied, but I'm saying we had a smaller pool to draw from. So
No, I understand. It's just, I was thinking that if you only have 4 or 5 this time and 4 or 5 next time, just think about it. You may want to take from a pool of, you know, you put the qualifications out, not being a certified officer, or, you know, you can have a 4-year degree in basket weaving.
Next time they put out,
Like that, it doesn't matter what it's in, but there's a lot of different things where you'll get a lot more applicants. That's all.
part of the problem is if you want to apply for a grant, the federal government has that grant where they'll pay for an individual to be sponsored by us to go through the academy. They'll pay for the academy, and they'll pay them a certain wage while they're in the academy to maintain their life or whatever they're doing. And then when they get done, and they graduate, they become the police officer at the city that sponsors them. But you have to have an open position to do that and have the funding to pay for them.
Right.
And that's something we've been challenged with in our department.
Okay.
So there's a lot of different factors there. So, any other questions?
No.
Nope.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Evening.
So I'm going to do just a brief overview for the monthly stats for the month of September. The incoming calls for the month were 677, so 677 incoming calls. And if there's any questions along the way, you know, please stop me and ask. The complaints and the arrest report, we had 22 total complaints for the month. Our monthly training, we've kept up with making sure that, you know, I know Doug believes very strongly in this, that we keep our training up to date and current, and we never lag in that. In this line of work, this is one of the most important things that you can do with the police department is constant training. But just to touch on some of that training, we had legal update, de-escalation training, FOIA training, field training, officer updates. So with new hires coming, one of our current FTOs had an update with that. Communication training officer, what that is that CTO. It's similar to the FTO program for police officers, but it's for communications, for radio, for dispatch. Same principle, DORs, and it's detailed, and we keep very good training records during their training period. We did plainclothes training with Border Patrol, lasso training, SWAT monthly training. AJ had that, K-9 with Officer Carrico or TFO Carrico, and then dive training. We had our monthly training. The last thing I wanted to touch on was, also the juvenile report. There was nothing to report for this month. And then lastly would be the reserve report. Reserves worked a total of 67.5 hours during the month of September. The events that they worked were the high school soccer game, the lighthouse swim event that was at the Grosseal Yacht Club. We had a call-in for that boating accident. We had some reserves come in for that and help us with anything that we needed. And then the homecoming event at the high school on the 29th. There were October events as well. The walk and roll to school day, Grosseal High School Class of 25 Trunk or Treat fundraiser, and that's on the 22nd. These are upcoming events. The 25th, another trunk or treat at the Grosseal Airport, which most of you are well aware of. And on the 30th, they're coming into patrol for Devil's Night, and on the 31st, Halloween as well.
They say that trunk or treat, 1022.
Yep, 1022 at the high school. It's the class of 2025,
Yeah,
the trunk or treat fundraiser. And then on the 25th, they're having one here at the Grosseal Airport.
Who's they?
On
the airport.
Janelle put it together.
Oh,
It's the airport that's
It's the airport that's doing it.
okay.
Yeah, they're sponsoring it.
So that seems to be a very popular way to have the kids be out and safe and do it in a, well-lit area and known people.
Because the 22nd one would be this weekend.
Correct. Any questions?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Joey, liaison?
The only report that I have is we've been dealing with Wayne County on some issues. Doug, to help you out, I know that we've gotten complaints about speed on the bridge, things of that nature. And the Director of Public Service has denied our request about the, we're still working at it though. We're gonna do some things, request to lower the speed limit. I've also requested a public hearing, which will help. Now, this is kind of quasi with the police department, but at least you'll know. I've also requested a public hearing that the Director of Public Safety stated that he would have here at our township in 22, he stated he would have it in 23. We obviously have not had it yet. So I sent him a nice, kind email. I mean, it really was kind. And ask him if we could please have one here, before the end of 23, as you stated, and we'll continue to work on the bridge issues. There's some issues with that I've looked into that just isn't making a whole lot of sense. But if the county would do their part to help us, we're trying to do our part, and I'm trying to help Doug because I know it's very difficult. We did it, and to run radar on the bridge. I mean, this is the truth. This is coming from me, not Doug, because I did it. I tried a program. It is so dangerous and so difficult for vehicles to turn around, the police vehicles, and then we have the rear, as AJ know, we have the rear facing radar, but to get back out into traffic, because you have to stop the car. You don't just wave as they go by. You have to stop and tell them whatever you're going to tell them. It is so dangerous and so difficult, and there's more to it. It's a political issue with the county. I hate to say that. It's a political issue. We're still working on it. I'm still going to be requesting it. I'm not done yet, and that's where we're at. But Doug, we're trying to help you out. We're trying to, if the speed limit can come down to 25, then maybe trucks aren't doing 40 and 45, and it's difficult. I get it. I've seen it. I've been there. So, Doug,
If I may,
sure.
I appreciate you mentioning the officer safety portion of that, because on midnights, it was easy to sit on the side of Parkway and run radar because you have limited traffic, but we've all been there during rush hour or if the toll bridge swings, that the traffic is wall to wall to wall cars, and when they use their turn lane to go down the ramp, it actually complicates it more. I appreciate that because it's very difficult to run. Even if you had handheld radar on the bridge, you still can't pull them over. So the officers do the best they can, but it makes it difficult. And there is an officer safety factor, and that's something we've struggled since before you started.
And it is difficult.
Thank you for that. So.
No, you're very welcome, because it's called reality. And it is difficult to do this, and we have tried it, we've done it, we continue to do it. If we had 3 individuals could be assigned, and obviously we can't, it's impossible. And there's a way to do it, but you need 3, and it's just dangerous. It's absolutely dangerous, but we got to slow the traffic down too. We still have to do our job, I get that also, and we're trying to do our job, but we need help from the county, and the county isn't helping us. Now, I know a gentleman here on the board stated we need to work with the county. You can't just knock on their door and tell them what you want. Well, when you knock on their door and they say no one's home, and you call their office and don't get return calls, and you send emails, you don't really have much of a choice. There isn't a choice anymore to try and get people to do their job. So we're still working, Doug. I promise you I haven't given up. I don't give up that easy. So maybe next month or so we'll have something. I've sent some new emails out to some different people to try and get us some help. And we'll let you know, but it's not done yet. And that's about it, Paul.
Very good. I see there's no public comment unless any of you folks have anything to comment on? Feel free.
He's quiet.
I guess we need a motion to approve the monthly reports for this month.
Motion.
Second it. Oh,
All in favor?
aye.
Okay, let's take a run at going back to action item number 3 and the millage. I think what I'd like to propose is I'll give you guys a summary of what's gone on in the last month and what's gone on in the last day or two. And we do have language on this piece that was just putting out.
Yes.
Okay. So just let me give a summary then. We were working for the last month or so, 6 weeks, on this package right here. And this has been sent out to all you folks, and we appreciate the feedback and the work that Jessica's put in on it, and Todd and Doug. And at this point, I think we all agreed this was to a level that we would consider a preliminary package that we may use to go forward with, depending on what the township board decides. Okay? There were no problems. All right, subsequent to this, last Friday, Doug and Jessica have been working with the township, and last Friday, Derek sent us out an email where the new township attorney had taken a shot at actual ballot language, potentially. Nothing obviously here is official. The township board hasn't done a thing at this point. And I don't mean that negatively, they just have not acted. We're just being proactive, trying to give them some input from our side. So last Friday afternoon or evening, we received, if you look at this package right here, you've got it, Jeff. You all got it? We received a very preliminary draft from the township attorney through Derek to us. And we reviewed it. Doug set up a meeting for yesterday morning, and we met with Derek, the new person who took over for Ann Darsniak as she the finance director.
Teresa.
Is she a finance director or manager?
She's the finance director.
Director. which was actually her first day on the job, so she was very cold. And we also had the township attorney, Kristen Kolb, on a call-in. Not a Zoom, but we had her on a call-in, where we reviewed this language, and there was a lot of back and forth about where to go from there. And coming out of that meeting yesterday, Doug, Jessica, and I said, well, let us take a shot at it and fire it back to you. And that's the bottom one. And with the, this isn't exactly what we sent them. We sent our first shot back. Derek responded. He didn't have any big objection to it. He suggested a different line item, and Jessica, I don't even want to try and say which words were added by Derek. But the bottom language is basically a combination consensus of what Doug, Jessica, and I came up with Derek's input. And my proposal to you folks is that we approve that language back to Derek, that one, to go forward, with the township board, and just keep us in the loop so that we know where they're going. And that would be partly you, Joe, to help keep that, but
Yes.
I think we have a very strong communication with Derek and the Teresa and Kristen. So, to make it short and sweet, if we could have a motion to approve that lower language to submit back to Derek as the language that the commission now has, what's the word I want to use? Come on, it's a C word, Scott. Consensus. We've reached consensus.
How do you want this explained in the, so what would you say, like, how would you explain this part of it as opposed to this one? The
Explain it in which way?
when we make a motion, how would you want?
I would say the motion should just be this. None of the other working document stuff should be in the motion. I would say that we want a motion with the language that is in the lower paragraph.
That's
The
what
the upper was just a very rough draft.
Okay.
It's not seen the light of day to anyone.
I just want to make sure whoever does the motion, we differentiate and it explains for them to
Well,
know
I'll-
since they're not here. So you go ahead and do it.
Well, generally, I think we read it, but
I was gonna say, I'll do the motion and just read the millage proposal.
why don't you do that?
So I motion to approve the millage language that reads as follows. Groseal Township Police Department dedicated millage proposal in 2024. Shall Groseal Township, Wayne County, Michigan, replace all or portions of the existing 6.60 mills of various voter-approved police millages and township operating and allocated millages that currently fund the operations of Groseal Police Department with a single new levy of 6.80 mills, paren $6.80 on each $1,000 of taxable value, close paren, with a period of 5 years, 2024 to 2028, inclusive and subject to authorized disbursements mandated by law for the purposes of the general operation of police services, including personnel, costs, and equipment, estimated to provide revenue of $911,341 in the first year, with a checkbox of yes or no underneath it. That would be my motion. That is based upon the language that, as Paul, you said, went back and forth with the changes between the attorney and back from our township supervisor, Mr. Thiel. I'm sorry, thank you, Township Manager, Mr. Thiel. So we would ask to adopt that language as our millage proposal.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The only further comment to this is, there's obviously going to be a lot more discussion on this. And we'll be getting feedback and everything else, and we'll have to address all that. But this is,
No, that's-
we as the commission were requested, we've had meetings. I'd say, how many have we had, Doug? 2 or 3 meetings, and Doug has been one of the main forces pushing for these meetings with Jim Budney, Derek, the finance people, Brian Thiel, about the strategy going forward that the township is working on. And we're just supporting the township to provide them the information that they have requested. And once they get this, we'll probably be back and forth with other things. And I guess, Joe, we're going to count on you to be a conduit, as well as Doug, Jessica, Derek, Teresa, and Kristen.
Absolutely.
Just so that the communication, we do not want to get crossed up on any communication or statements. Any comments?
No, everything I think was done all correctly, and because it came back from the township manager, who's working with the township attorney, I think the verbiage is correct. Now, if they want it tweaked, they can come
Well,
back
at
to
this
us,
point,
and we'll deal with it.
We,
Doug will-
ultimately, we don't own this language. It'll be what the township board
board.
approves.
Correct.
We all realize that. We're not trying to call the tune to the township board. We were requested for some input. We've given them the input, and we sit welcome, not stand welcome, but we sit welcome for any feedback and any other information they want. We'll work with them. You all agree?
Absolutely.
Yes, understood.
Yeah, this is just something that needs to get to them so that they have a working process now to work with. And if, like you said, Joe, if there's any changes, they'll make the changes as they see fit with working with their township attorney.
We have to continue this ball rolling, and this is what does it.
Yeah.
You guys, it is a good job. Doug, thanks too,
This is the single most important thing we have going for this department, is we need the funding to be correct with what we want as a community. Absolutely.
understood. And we're doing what we gotta do. It's up now to the township. If anything comes back, it'll probably come through Doug, because they have contact every day.
Well,
But then-
through Derek, probably,
No, that's,
to Doug.
that's what I'm saying, from
That's
Derek
the
to Doug.
primary conduit.
And then we will, deal with it, if we have to change anything. Sorry, Jessica, through Doug, through Derek. My apologies.
So, anyone else have any comments on that action item?
No.
There being no public comment, again, as there's no public citizens here, there's no comment from our officers in attendance. I'm open to a motion to adjourn.
Motion?
Second.
Aye.
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 Aye.